Good to see everyone today. We're going to talk about something special. And good to see everyone. Today, we're going to talk about how can we conduct irresistible presentations with a specific technique I call health labels. And I'm just going to wait maybe 20 seconds, give everyone time to join, get settled in. But if we keep hearing, let's say, a lot of think about it, and we went through a complete think about it presentation the other day, but a lot of times, one of the reasons that we hear think about it is we cannot connect the major pain points that they have with our presentation and connect the two in terms of the pain points and our exact solutions. And that's where we all have heard the saying, like, confused minds don't buy. And a lot of times because we get overly excited to sell, to push our product, we end up confusing the prospect with our maybe Richard, more medical terminology that they don't know what that is, or with industry specific methodology. If I talk about leads and conversions, not everyone will understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about leads and conversions if then they're not well versed. So we use what we call technobubble. So today we're going to talk about a specific technique to make it much easier for us to make compelling presentations and connect their pain points with our solutions. Now, this is a little bit advanced, but it's also very and just so everyone is clear, it's manipulation at its highest level. Now, we do it for good, of course, not just for us to sell more of our stuff, but of course to serve people, to help people, but use with responsibility and deploy it only, of course, selling ethical products and services. Now, who has ever been to a hotel a little bit more fancy and has noticed that, I guess, how do they call the suites? We've all been to hotels where they call the rooms, 101, 102, 103. But once you get to the suite level, what does anyone know? Just to make it a little bit more engaging, how do they call, like, the big hotel chains, or maybe the more fancy hotels, how do they call their suites, their larger rooms? If anyone doesn't know, I'll let you in.
They name them. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Please.
Just suites, right?
Yeah, suites. Yeah, they're larger, more luxurious rooms.
They give them distinguished names.
Yeah. As in, for example, just give you an idea.
Like the President's Suite, the Palmetto Suite, things like that.
Exactly. Sometimes, I don't know, Purple Spring, right? Does anyone know why they do that? Like the President's Suite, or I don't know, the Queen's Suite, or Purple Spring. Why do they put those labels in those rooms and they're not 101, 102, 103? Like, why do they put different labels on, more luxurious rooms, services?
I would say to immediately distinguish them as different than the normal room.
On a surface level, that's it. But if we go down a couple of levels, it's because labels are associated with feelings. Labels are associated with feelings. So there's a big difference between me staying in room 101, 102, and someone staying at the Purple Spring Suite or the President's Suite. Because that one word, the Purple Spring or that President, it carries emotion, it carries feeling, it carries status. So how do we apply that to our sales when we are doing problem discovery, but also presentations? It's really simple. So what we can do is, we've already talked about our solution has specific pillars, specific buckets, solution buckets. Quick example, an easy example is always, let's say, fitness, right? So I can have the coaching, that's pillar number one. I can have the diet plan, pillar number two. I can have the accountability group, the community, pillar number three. So I have three buckets, right? Three solution buckets. And in my effort to make a compelling presentation, what do? I present the pillars and I try to align them with a specific pain point that I've uncovered during the call. However, what if instead of just uncovering problems and probing and digging and doing that problem awareness, that problem discovery, what if I could start labeling the problems? Let me give you an example. So if I want to sell, let's say, a sales and entrepreneurs, I don't know, a business growth program, and someone tells me, hey, Chris, revenue 1 month is 5,000, the next month is 10,000, the next month is 2,000. What I'll say is, okay, so you're in a bit of a revenue roller coaster there. Yeah, that's it. Tell me more. How does it show up in your case? And he starts to unpack. No, I'm going to do more digging. Yes, I'm experiencing a revenue roller coaster. Okay, so 1 month it's 5,000, 2,000. How long has it been this way? 3 years. Okay, has that had an impact on you? So I'm going to build up the emotion the regular way, but what I've done at the top, I've stuck a label at his problem. Revenue roller coaster, revenue hamster wheel, weight loss hamster wheel. But what that does is, imagine I've created a jar, like a bottle in their minds, that I've labeled revenue roller coaster, and I'm pouring in all that emotion. Like, how's that making you feel? Being in 5,000, 2,000, 10,000 for 3 years now, how's that making you feel? I'm pouring all that emotion. The conversation goes on, I'm bottling it. This is revenue roller coaster. Now, when I continue down to, and I start doing the presentation, remember how you mentioned revenue roller coaster? Well, here's how we fix revenue roller coaster. When I label them with the term in problem awareness, and then I bring it up in the solution, what does it do to their mind? Who's going to tell me? What does it do if I've labeled their problem?
Makes a connection.
Number one, what else?
Makes it more real to them.
What else?
That's all I got.
Richard, when someone comes in and he says, hey, my back is killing me.
Makes you say, I could solve that revenue roller coaster. I could solve that pain roller coaster.
Yeah, if someone comes in, oh, my back is killing me.
On and off, on and off.
And you say, oh, it sounds like a sciatica tweak. What are they gonna say? This is my guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
when
if
they come
you're
in,
able to explain, to label your problem in a much better way than you did it yourself, who am I in your eyes?
the expert.
The authority, right?
Yeah. So when they say, I get pain on and off, say, okay, well, it sounds like you got a pain roller coaster going on.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be only pain roller coaster, right? It can be any label. It's just that we're putting a label that's visual, that's either visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Like, it's something that we can touch, feel, hear, and assign emotions to. So when something comes in and tells me, you know, I've had hip pain for 5 months. It's been slowing down my work. It's been doing this, it's been doing that. And they say 500 different things. I take it, all that emotion, and I bottle it up in chronic sciatica pain, revenue roller coaster. It's industry specific, right? But what that does is I put this in a bottle, and when I bring up my solution, it's not going to be, I have this amazing program, which is 5 massages, this. It's going to be, remember how you mentioned that you're experiencing revenue roller coaster, or the, you're in the pain hamster wheel?
Yeah.
This is how we fix it. This is how we kill the hamster. Let me show you.
Right. Yeah, label it in the beginning.
Yes, but what does it do to their brain? Once I've unpacked all that pain, I'm putting it in a bottle, and then I use the exact same terminology. It makes them relieve all that emotion, right?
Right. It makes them understand that you understand them, maybe too, huh?
Yeah, and it's not just that. It makes them relieve the pain that they just went through during the call, in the early stages of the call. So if someone explains to me that my revenue has been up and down for 5 months, and I've been struggling with this, I've been struggling with that, how's that making you feel? Yeah, I feel stuck. I feel this way. I feel that way. Those emotions, they experiencing them for, let's say, 2 to 3 minutes during your call. As you're unpacking them, they're unpacking them with you. But fast forward, you're bringing up the exact same label during your presentation, all that emotion comes running back. So is that clear to everyone? And I'm going to show you how exactly to do it. That's the big idea, though. Is that clear to everyone? Now, how do you exactly implement it is, first, you have to look at what you're selling in the pillar structure. If you're saying if your solution gets broken up into 4 pillars, you're going to have 4 buckets, 4 solution buckets. And now you want to come up with 4 different pain points that get solved from that solution pillar. And you're going to put a label for its problem. For example, if someone has inconsistent revenue, you can say revenue roller coaster. If someone doesn't have any clients, for example, and they're still struggling to validate, you can say stuck in startup hell. It's industry specific, but the big idea is you have 4 pain buckets, 4 labels of hell. And as you're going through that discovery, you're looking and you're having your situation and problem awareness. You're looking for specific breadcrumbs, like what label can I stick on their problems? Because a lot of people will have multiple different problems. So how do you know which to focus on, right? And that's where you want, as you're unpacking the problem with them, if you label it the right way, everything becomes clear to them as well. So how do you exactly do it is, once you pick up the first breadcrumbs, for example, if someone says, my revenue is 2 months, how much was your revenue last month? 2,000. What about this month? 1,000. Okay, what about 2 months before? 5,000. Okay, now I've traced the problem. What I'll do is, so it sounds like the revenue is a little bit inconsistent. Sounds like you're in a little bit of a revenue roller coaster, ? So I want them to approve the label. I'm not just placing the label on them and move on. I want them to accept the label. That's how they will own it. So I will say, it sounds like you're in a little bit of a revenue roller coaster. Yes, I am. They've accepted the label. Now I want them to defend the label. So how does that show up, though, like that revenue roller coaster in your case? And now they will start defending and unpacking the label that I just planted. Does that make sense to everyone? Like it sounds simple, but it's very powerful because it's one thing for someone to say, revenue was 1,000 last month, this month is 3,000, a couple of months ago it was 5,000. I mean, it's fine. But now we're in a revenue roller coaster, right? The problem is real. It has shape, it has form, and I can see it. It's no longer ethereal. It's an enemy that we're attacking together. Everyone clear on that?
I got a quick question, Chris.
Please.
As you're going through this, can you use too many labels? Like if they're going through multiple problems, is there a point where labels have a diminishing return?
Yeah, I would do 2 at most.
2? Okay.
I would do 2 at most because a lot of people have, let's say, 5 different problems, but the reality is the root cause will be 1 or 2. Like you can have many symptoms. Like for Richard, someone might have fatigue, headaches, shoulder pain. The cause might be they have a messed up neck. Like that's the root cause.
Okay.
So same goes from everyone. Someone doesn't know how to sell. He gets a lot of objections. He doesn't know how to build trust. The root cause is they don't know which questions to ask. So that's why we like to, label with 1, 2 prompts and build emotion around those 2 labels, right? In terms of going deep with those emotions.
Okay. Thank you. Because I was just thinking through like problems and like different labels. And I'm like, well, I could probably think of 5 to 6. And I'm like, that seems like a lot. So
Yeah. I would do it. It depends on the avatars, right? I'm talking about, how many people you're selling to. So if you're selling to, let's say, 3 different avatars, for example, one is a 30-year-old entrepreneur, the other one is a 60-year-old retired person, right? These people are going to have completely different labels because we're talking about completely different situations. But in one conversation, I would use 1, 2. That's more than enough.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sweet. Richard.
Yeah. So you want to label them way in the beginning of this. And then you say, don't you agree? Or how do you get them to agree? Do you agree that you're in a roller coaster here?
I wouldn't say don't you agree. I would say, sounds like you're in a little bit of a revenue roller coaster. Or it sounds like a lot of clients come to me for that. They mention a lot of times they're stuck in a revenue roller coaster. Are you with me when I say that? Oh yeah, for sure. I feel that way.
And then you go, how does that make you feel? Or what's the next question?
First you want them to defend that. So how does it show up though? Like a difference in that revenue roller coaster, it can be different in each scenario. How does it show up in your case? And now they're like, oh, this happens this month, this happened that month. So you see it during your problem awareness, but instead of just doing it the basic way where you find the problem and then how long has it been going on for, and then what kind of impact is that having on you, and having that impact for so long, how does it make you feel? You go through the exact same sequence, but you slap a label up top so you can intensify that emotion so much more.
I'm going to try that tomorrow.
This is essentially a sales cheat. You're cheating, right? Like it's kind of like cheating because you have pre-made problems, and instead of just unpacking everything with them, you slap a label, they accept the label, and you go from there.
I'll try that tomorrow.
Yeah, try it. Yeah, let me know how that goes.
Thanks, buddy.
But the key piece here is you label the problem awareness, and then when you're transitioning into the presentation, you know how we typically do it. Well, Chris, you know how you mentioned that right now you're at 200 pounds, you want to get to 150 pounds, but during your hormones, So you go through that sequence. That's where you want to unpack the label. And you want to continue with that theme throughout as you're presenting the pillar. Let me give you an example to make it super clear. So Chris, you know how you mentioned that right now you feel like you're stuck in a revenue roller coaster where one month is 1,000 a month, 1 month is 10,000, and you're not sure how to scale the business consistently. Well, now we put a stop to this revenue roller coaster. Here's how we do it. We put you in this coaching program where you have one-on-one calls with the coaches, so you know exactly where your marketing fails. You can scale your spend. And next time that revenue roller coaster is about to take that downturn, that's where we stop it. We do a business audit so we can get back on the upswing. Are you with me? Does that make sense how that works? So I keep harping away at it because every time I mention it, if I've done my job properly, they're relieving all that emotion, right? It's like I'm inducing PTSD to them. Andrew.
Hey, I was wondering, the label that I end up giving to a lot of people is that they, and I think I'm just curious if this is too weak, but basically my pathway is like uncovering what the actual root cause of the problem is to begin with. So a lot of times I'm labeling them like with, not knowing what the actual problem is. So I'm curious like how you would do that, or would you actually like give them a different label other than just like you're unaware of, the real root cause?
So you mean people come to you and they come with a symptomatic problem? Let's say, for lack of a better term, I'm fat. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just want to lose weight. Is that what, I guess?
Yeah, they're coming to me and they're like, I feel like I'm doing everything right and nothing is working, and so we're like uncovering that. And so I'm labeling them with the problem of like, you likely have something going on underlying that's, making this harder for you. So I guess I'm curious like how to label them in that way.
Yeah, so first I would probe into it. So walk me through, like when you say you're doing everything right, how do you mean exactly? But if you're getting nowhere even with that, what you want to do then is, it makes sense because it's one thing to know what you have to do, it's another thing to do what you have to do, right? And a lot of times if we step away, like you can't read the label from inside the bottle. That's why people come to me, because they think they're doing everything right, but inch by inch, as we work together, it seems like things have taken the wrong turn. So your label in that case can be that you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And you're using a more analogy. Let's say you're using an analogy as a vehicle to deliver that label.
Okay.
So essentially, that's a way of telling them you lack perspective. Like that's why you feel you're doing everything right, because you don't have an outside perspective, because you're taking, you have the habits, you have the beliefs of a 200-pound person, but you don't have the habits, and you don't know the habits of a 150-pound person or an athlete, because you haven't been an athlete. It makes sense. It's okay. It's perfectly normal. That's why people come to me for.
Got it.
So of course you have to tread lightly, because you're attacking their identity in a way, right? So you want to get to that point. May I make a suggestion? Sure. A lot of clients, when they come to me, they feel they're doing everything right, but what I've found out is you can't read the label from inside the bottle, right? Because how long have you been at that weight? 200 pounds. Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, so you have the belief system and you're taking the actions of a 200-pound person. No offense, right? It's perfectly normal. I would do that. I used to be the same way. But that's why people come to me, because we have to start thinking as the athlete, the mother, the person that we can be. And that needs a new set of beliefs, actions, and consistency. Are you with me when I'm saying that, Mary?
Yeah.
So now that you're starting, this is the next level. So you're getting to commit to an identity, to the new identity, right?
Mhm.
So that's your anchor for your objection handling. Yeah, let me think about it. Yeah, it makes sense that you want to think about it because, as we've discussed earlier, you're in this interesting transition, right? Like 3 years, we've been at 200 pounds. Like this decision-making process led us there. If you allow me to ask you this question, like how long do you want to allow that old identity to keep you exactly where you are? And I'm asking that because I want you to win. Like, how long? Do you want Mary 1.0, the 200-pound Mary, to keep you exactly where you are for the next 2, 4, 6 months? I want you to win. It has no impact on me. But how's anything gonna change if we don't change?
Got it.
Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely.
I went in a little bit of a tangent. I'm just hoping it helps.
No, that was good. Thank you.
Cool. What other questions do we have about labels? And I think that's a good basic starting point.
I have another question, if that's all right.
Many,
Do,
please.
if they label them, I have some people that like label themselves as a problem. Do
Mhm.
you like, do you just kind of roll with that? Or do you like, I guess, or do you just like, I guess, do you try to like add emotion to that label? How do you go about that when they give you, the label? Like someone
do
in
they
my case,
say?
like I feel like I have a slow metabolism.
So I feel like that's not necessarily a label. That's the mechanism of the problem. So let me explain. If they say, I don't know how to lose weight, right? I don't have the right diet plan. I'm owning the problem, right? If someone says, I have a slow metabolism, what are they doing? They're abdicating responsibility of the issue, right?
Yeah.
So that it's not serving you, it's serving you, it's in the middle. So it's not necessarily benefiting you if they have a slow metabolism or not, because that can act against you, actually. Because if they say, well, if I have a slow metabolism, you have to persuade them that you know how to, deal with slow metabolisms.
Okay.
A more helpful scenario is, so unpack it for me. What do you mean by you have slow metabolism? And ideally, you want to, so if you shine the light, here's the problem with externalizing their issue in that way. It's a problem that they know. And the danger in that is to feel hopeless and not move forward with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they've had, I've always been this way, the gap becomes so large in their mind, the gap of their hell, the place that they are now, and heaven, the place they want to be, it becomes so large because of that problem that they don't believe anything is going to work for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that acts against you because it's not your fault, it's just they lack self-belief that they're gonna, that actually is going to work, right? Because they feel that they're faulty in some way, or that slow metabolism is always going to be there. So the label to counteract that is, well, it's not necessarily the slow metabolism, it's just that you don't have, you don't know how to deal with a slow metabolism. I cannot come up with I'm not going to do a good job unpacking it, but
That's okay.
if you flash a light, because they're already in a dark cave, right? They're desperate, and there's a bear somewhere in the shadows. That's the slow metabolism, right? So if you're able to come into that cave and shine light into that problem, and you tell them, hey, that bear it's not that scary. We can tackle it together. That's when they buy your thing.
Mm.
So your job isn't to tell them necessarily, don't be afraid of the slow metabolism, but it's to put another label on that problem. I would have to think on how we're able to do it, but does the concept make sense as a concept?
Yeah. I think that's something that I'm potentially struggling with, because my marketing and lead nurture process is all centered around metabolism, hormone balance, and gut health for weight loss. So I'm having a lot of people who come in who, feel they have this problem, but all my marketing is also like talking about how I can help them solve it too. So, they're on a call with me to solve that problem. Usually they know they have one of those three things going on. But yeah, that's definitely helpful. So I need to shine a light on the problem and tell them and help them understand that it's something that they can solve.
Yeah, and this is also market sophistication thing, right? Like when weight loss programs first came out, now I'm going left field, but when weight loss programs first came out, you could tell me, hey, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Yes, I'm in, because you would be the first one.
Right.
50 programs come out. Everyone says, I'm going to help you lose 10 pounds. Who am I going to believe? I'm becoming more skeptical. So I'm going to listen. Like the level 2 is who makes a bigger claim. I'm going to help you lose 20 pounds and get abs. Oh, wow. I'm going to go with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
All the people do that. Level 3, that's where a mechanism comes in. We're using a mechanism. For example, I'm going to help you lose weight by optimizing your hormones, right? What you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a common mechanism. It's something that they know. Like I know what slow metabolism is. So in many cases, again, what will happen is they will either feel that, oh, I know how to handle my metabolism, not a problem, I don't need help there. Or I've always had that. I'm never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we go to level 4, and you want to introduce a new mechanism. A new mechanism means essentially you come up with a unique technique, a unique way of doing things. And this is 100% marketing, right? You don't have to reinvent the human body to do it. Right?
Yeah.
It's not gluconeogenesis and you do it angiogenesis. It's just that you start making tweaks to your program, you follow a specific approach, and you put a nice label on it to make it sound new and fresh.
Okay.
That's level 4. And level 5 is, and I think we had that conversation, is speaking to identities, which at the end of the day, all markets have gone to that level. It's not talking about weight loss, not talking about metabolism. It's about belief systems. So, and I wove some of those features throughout the presentation. It's not just, but besides the slow metabolism and all of that, the 160-pound Mary, what characteristics does she have that the 200-pound Mary does not? She doesn't eat cheesecake. She exercises daily. She has a coach. Why? Why does the 160-pound Mary, who's an athlete, why does she behave in that way? Because she wants to show up for her family. She wants to do that. She wants to do that. Okay. Now we help them shape a new identity. That doesn't happen only in your sales calls. That happens during your marketing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I tell my one-on-one clients, anyone I have the access to, is you have to create 2 new worlds. And let's say day 1, you're talking to the old identity, to the person that they are and their symptoms, the hell. And the next day you're talking about to the new identity. And you have to portray that new identity that they have to become as a leader of that cult, for lack of a better word. That's how you create communities. Like there's an old world, old era, new era. My sales methodology, it's called the new era conversions for a reason. Because I'm taking them out of hell, which is the old way, I'm bringing them into the new way with the identity that I don't work as hard. Sales is not a numbers game. I don't have to butt people in the head to sell to them. I don't have to manipulate them. Same story, both for marketing and sales. The concepts, the concepts, the thinking behind it is the same. It's just that it's copywriting versus sales, but it's the same story. Does that make sense? So I think overall
Yes.
it's you help like reframing their mindset. Yeah, but besides the slow metabolism, because I've had slow metabolisms, I've had a slow metabolism, but may I make a suggestion? Sure. And you start doing the reframes.
Got it. Helpful. Thank you.
Cool. Briggs.
I got a question kind of on the flip side, and it is in when a prospect has a negative label that has been put on them by others. Like I've run into the situation where smaller buildings have told me, oh, we're a low priority building, or oh, we're not big enough to, make these decisions. So like, how do you go about breaking or changing labels that say a corporate office has put on a smaller building?
So are that person the decision maker though? Like, can they pull the trigger if they want to?
Most of the time, they are the ones that are presenting to their board and their corporate, but they have a lot of say on how the program is designed because we do a customizable so like they're the ones that are saying, yes, this is what I need. No, we can go without that. So like they're the ones kind of tailoring the program. So it's a weird situation. Yes, they're not signing off on it, but if we build something that isn't what they want, then they're not going to even go a step further.
Absolutely. So your sole objective is to turn that person into a champion for you. So you have to win them 100%, right? And you're gonna say, duh, that's my goal. But you have to enter the call with that frame. Like no matter what that person tells me, they're my champion. So what would I say to an accomplished? What would I say to a person who's a champion? When I ask them about them, yeah, man, but besides what other people consider you, lower priority building, like if you were able to introduce something like that, what would I do for you? Right? So it's not just the benefit of the company, the department. What does it do for them? Like, would I do anything for you? If anything.
Gotcha.
What would I do for you, if anything? Would that make your life easier, or how would it show up? Like if you had, remind me what you're selling exactly?
The housekeeping and laundry services for nursing homes.
Right. Yeah. So, if you had you want to reverse it from the problem that you found. So if you found that their current provider is slow. Okay, so if you had a faster, more streamlined process for your laundry, what would that do for you? Or it would help, and people will default to talking about around them, right? Oh, it will help the patients, it will help that, it will help. Yeah, but I'm talking about what would that do for Mary, though? Oh, for me, I would do this, do that. Okay, so you being the person to introduce something like this, how would that look like towards leadership?
Okay.
Now they start owning the idea. Because when you're not there, they are the ones that they have to defend your pitch, right? That's why we have to protect them as champions. Because they are the ones, if we have to be encouraging. Because when we're not in the room, they will fight for our idea. That's why we have to turn them into champions, and that's why we have to explore what would it do for them.
Okay.
Because
And
we want to make it about them. If we make it about them, they own the idea, they will defend the idea because it's something that benefits them. If we don't unpack it with them, they wouldn't care. They're like, oh, we will get cheaper, service, but okay. I would
Yeah.
for you if you were able to, please. I'm going too long.
Oh, no, I just, and like really the thing that I'm really pushing for is like 1 out of 5 times we get in the room with the decision maker, it's like a joint meeting. I'm trying to up those percentages where we're in the room a lot more. Cause like, I mean, it's a game of telephone. I tell you, Chris, that we do XYZ, and then
Yeah.
you tell Richard that we do TUV. And it's just
Yeah.
like, so like I've been trying to push for more of like us being on the same side of the table as our administrators that we're trying to help, to then go as a united front to, usually the director of operations for a region or whatever it is. And, but if I can get them to champion me, it might even get that meeting a little bit more solidified. Cause like, oh, come with me. Cause I do, trust and see what you're saying, and like, might be better for me to go with you instead of just presenting on my own.
Yeah, and it's not just come with me, it's at the end of the call, it's like, would it help you if, because of course I understand that you have to discuss with the board or yada, 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 but would it help you if I came up along the meeting? Maybe they might have any questions that you don't necessarily know how to answer and you wouldn't know to. So would it help you if I tag along so I can provide any clarity on any questions they might have? So we have to set that frame in that way for us to be accepted, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else? It doesn't have to be about labels, about anything. We can role play, we can, any challenge that you're facing. Andrew.
Yeah, so I had a really bad show rate week for my triage calls this week. Like the worst it's ever been. And so I guess I'm curious to hear like what are the best practices for that, for I guess, and maybe framing the call in a way that's actually valuable for them to want to come. I think I may be struggling with that.
Yep. Have you implemented my no-show process?
I don't think I have that. Is there,
Okay.
do you have a training on that?
Yeah. I have it on my
Okay, cool.
YouTube along with the full scripting and stuff. I'm gonna
Great.
send you-
I'll just go through that then.
Yeah. But some basic, I guess, how are you currently, how do you frame your triages right now when you book them in?
It's essentially framed as a call just to see if we can help.
And how long is it?
It's 10 to 15 minutes.
What do they book for? Like 15?
I on my calendar is 15 minutes. Yeah.
So they book in for 15. Typically when people don't show up is they don't see how that call will help them, because we can use the language, right? Help. But if we don't
Right.
show them that this is going to be helpful for them, that's when people, feel the need to no show. Or
Yeah.
there's not enough rapport, and I'm perfectly okay with no showing you because I don't like you, right?
Right.
Which I don't think
Right.
that's the case. It's another thing.
Yeah.
So when you're setting up the triage, where do they book from a landing page in the DMs? Like,
Yeah,
where-
so it's in the DM. So basically, my DM right now is I'll essentially ask them if they have, specific issues going on, and I'm covering like symptoms, and then I tell them like there's a lot to unpack here. It might be a good idea to hop on I forget the exact language around it, but I essentially offer them to come to a call to see if we can help them with those problems.
yeah.
And then
What I would include is also brainstorm a plan on how we can help. So
Okay.
what do this?
Right, so this is about how can we get
Sorry, I'm
people to
just-
show
just
up
looking
in
for
your
the
city.
video for you at the same time. Yeah, if it helps you, what I can do is what we can do is put some time on the calendar where we can brainstorm a plan on how you can lose weight faster, combat the slow metabolism, and see if any additional, if I can help you, maybe possibly in some of my programs. But would that help you if we did that?
Mm.
So with that language, they can feel that, okay, at least we're gonna brainstorm a plan.
Okay.
And once they book, I would have a video where you unpack them. Hey, you have let's say they book and they get redirected to a video where it goes something like, hey, good to see you. Not Mary, you wouldn't know their name. Hey, good to see you here. Look, I saw that you booked your breakthrough fitness session. What will happen there is these calls are pretty basic. Get a basic understanding of where you are in your journey, what you're looking for in terms of how does the person that you want to become exactly look like, and put together a plan so we can actually get you there. If it makes sense, I can walk you through also possible next steps. Looking forward to the call. Make sure to check out the videos below. Below you can have case studies, and I'll talk with you on the call. That's what you do. So now they have full context on what's going to happen.
Mm.
Do you have that?
I have that for between my triage call and my enrollment call, but I don't have that for the only thing I'm sending them before the triage call is an assessment and like reminders. I don't like an assessment in terms of like it's a form, you know. So yeah, I can definitely include something more valuable.
Yeah, because like if I got you into a triage, like, hey Andrew, let's hop on the triage. I'm gonna have you do an assessment and watch 5 videos. Is that cool? So what I just asked you is 15 minutes of your time, another 5 to do the assessment, and watch another 2 videos so you're well informed. So I just asked for 2 hours of your time with nothing in return.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what I'd like to do is, especially before you book the triage, also send them some value. That's how, because everything is competitive nowadays. Unless you're selling into some obscure niche, like it's very hard to even get people on a triage. So always default to value. Like, of course, you're not gonna lose weight out of a plan, out of one video, but it's gonna position you as someone they can invest time with.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, free gifts for showing up to the call. You can. I would just use it. Like I wouldn't want people to waste my time, book a call just for the free gifts. I would just. This is something that you could use in the video after they book. Hey, if you show up, you're gonna receive my three-day bootcamp I did on love handles, something like that. But this is a good, Valentin, appreciate you. Cool. Does that help, Andrew? I also put
Yeah.
the no-show video in the comments there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through this today. Thank you.
Cool. What else, ladies and gents? I think we're only gents here. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris. So for the labeling, I think for like some of the questions that I might have had in my script before was, hey, are you like the type of person who likes to do things on their own, or are you the type of person who needs like more hands-on help from somebody else? And what if they label themselves as like a do-it-yourself kind of person? Then how do you, kind of unpack it for them or challenge them that if they can do it on their own?
Yeah, so if you want to ask that sorting question, you have to. So do you sell a DIY?
No, they bought the DIY.
They bought it. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I think it was kind of in the criteria question
Right.
where I would ask this.
Yeah, what I would do in that scenario is you want to front load the question on the coaching. So what do I mean by that? Are you more of the DIY, let me start with the first stuff and see where it goes, or like the basic information, or do you prefer to have help accountability so you can get to where you're gonna go faster? So essentially, I want to sell the option I want to hear yes to a little bit, if I'm going to use that sorting question.
Thank you.
Another way of doing it is, and this is where the pendulum comes in that we had discussed in one of the trainings, right? Like if you see them that they're very DIY and they're 100% help bent, and it sounds like you want to, and it sounds like you're taking things nice and slow, DIY, you wouldn't want accountability to move faster, would you?
Mhm.
So what am I doing? I'm pushing them to the negative.
Yeah. Yeah, you're opening the box of Pandora,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. And it sounds like I'm not going to, we have to be careful. The goal isn't to, Mike Tyson uppercuts the pendulum all the way to the negative and piss them off. I want to be, gentle with it. And it sounds like you've started with the basic material. It doesn't sound like you would want like coaching and support, so you to move faster, would you? Oh no, I'm open to hear about it. Oh no, I want to hear about it. Right? Because it's safe. It's very safe for me to say no, I want to hear about it, because no feels nice. I defend.
Yeah.
It feels nice to reject ideas. What's hard is getting them to say yes. So why get them to say yes? Especially if they're negative. I go negative.
Yeah, that no is actually like a hidden yes, in a way.
Exactly. Does that give you a direction?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, sweet. Anything else, gents, before we wrap up here? Going once, going twice. Sweet. Well, enjoyed our time once more. Let me know if you want a replay to this. It should be posted online also. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.